Just listen. Watch the sunset, hear the sound, breaking waves on solid ground. Just listen to the sound of breaking waves.
Hey Roger, what do you use for the Sun Lounger guitar?
That's different. For some tracks, I use some of my guitarists, like Inge Hansen, for example, who's doing vocals. He's also an amazing guitarist. So on the new album, he played the guitars on Sunkissed, on Coconuts, Pineapples, and on 2 other songs as well. When I want to do guitars with the synth, I use the one plugin called Real Guitar. You also can do like very cool strumming. Sounds really cool. Sometimes Nexus has some nice patches as well. Sometimes I layer 2 or 3. And then I put them all through one bus through the guitar rig and put some effects on there, and it sounds really cool. Actually, I would like to find a nice lead sound. Maybe just... synth leads. Just build one quick.
Roger, start when you go about constructing a build or arranging a build. How do you typically go about doing so? Like, what's your preferred length? What are some elements that you bring in to
like for the build-up?
Yeah, for a build-up.
Depends on the style on the track. I mean, I just finished a rework for one of the Sun Launcher tracks where I had like a build-up of, I think, 32 bars, just to go crazy in the club. So it depends on the way you want to build it. I have a track with jazz on their album. So at the time it was like an 8-bar build. I think one thing for the builds is that when you have like the effects coming and like the rolls and all this stuff, to be careful with the volume, the way you mix it, because sometimes even it sounds very huge with the build. You have to think about when you drop it, you still need to put another level on top after that. So sometimes it's a tricky thing if you make a huge build, because then you have to keep the level afterwards. So that's sometimes nice, even you have to build and do like a 1-bar break to get rid of this problem is one option. Yeah, or you mix it very carefully, like for example, if you can hear in this one, I mixed the snare rolls not too loud, just to feel the build up, but not to make it too big. Let me see other option. Another build is this one. This will be my next. Actually, this is like a world premiere. This is my next single with Sarah Taylor, with the singer I did Lost. And a lot of people complained why she's not on the Sun Lounger album. And one reason was I want to have a lot of new singers on the new album, because it was the first Sun Lounger album after 3 years. And I decided to go back to the real Sun Lounger sound from the first album, but I want to refresh it with new voices. And then, for the second reason why she's not there is because I worked on this track with her for a while and wanted to keep it back for Roger Shah single. So it's always a bit of problem if you have like 2 projects which are working. Some point I do my Roger Shah stuff and do the Sun Lounger as well. So I need to listen to this one. Yes, as you can hear, if I would do a track like this under Sun Lounger, people would just kill me. That's why it's good to have Sun Lounger and Roger Shah.
Dreams always live on the other side. You never will leave it when it's staring you straight in the eye. When will you decide? Start to live your life. Stop the time from passing by. Time to make a change. Stop from being afraid. All you have is now. Don't wait.
Yeah, as I'm saying, I always try to do every track a bit different, like with the build-up. Sometimes I do like a huge breakdown. Sometimes you keep even like a kick in the breakdown. It always depends on the track of where you want to go. If you want to have it more like this, more like festival, you go a bit more crazy. Sometimes you keep it just very nice. And so, but as I said, there's no rule. I just do what I feel at the same moment and what you wanna, how you wanna to have it for the people.
Do you produce different styles of music, would you say, for your German or European crowd versus the US?
No, not really. I mean, I produce different styles for the fact I have different projects, but it's not that I'm thinking, oh, for the US I have to do it more in this direction. Maybe I should, then I would be bigger in the US. But I haven't done it, but it's good that you mentioned it. I will maybe think about it from now. So yeah, so and as I'm saying, I never really follow any style, or let's say you have to make it this way that it works for this country or this territory. Because in the end, I realized you can't plan it this way. If it would be so easy, everybody could have a hit record.
What about when you DJ?
When I DJ, actually no. I mean, when I play somewhere, 70-80% is my own music at the shows, anyways. So there's not so much um, to to change for me. I mean, I realize US is a bit different. I mean, especially when you go to big clubs, it's more commercial than in Europe. So you can, when I think you in Europe, Eastern Europe especially, or when you play like in Russia, for example, I think you can go there and you can play like just world premieres. People don't know any track and they just go crazy. I think if you do this here in the US and you play, people don't know any track, they just come and tell you to leave the DJ booth. So yeah, it is a bit different, but yeah, I mean, especially US, I think it's very, very electro, noisy, more noisy sound-wise than in other countries. But it's good. It's good that EDM is getting big right now. Not for trance, but dance music in general is really coming back. When I look back to my career, for example, we had this big boom in 96 to 99, like in Germany. And I had like 4 or 5 projects same time on just major companies, and it was like it just worked. And then here after a while, it goes down, and people ask for other music, and then EDM comes back again. And now I think it's really progressing, which is really cool. So what I like nowadays is that you don't have the subgenres anymore. So before everything was divided in house and progressive and techno and trance, and now everything is like all mixed up. I know like the purists, they complain about it, but for me, I like the fact that it's this way nowadays.
Roger, I was wondering if you could talk about how you treat your vocals. What's your chain looking like, and what
Yeah,
ESCs?
Yeah, for the vocals, one interesting progress is nowadays that back in the days you needed a very um, expensive mic to just get a very amazing recording and go from there. Nowadays, with all the plugins you have, you can really get a decent mic and record a vocal, and then you can really make a lot of great stuff with all the EQs and the compressions and to clean all the stuff. I think this is amazing what you can do nowadays. Yeah, for vocals, what I do, depending on the singer, I low cut almost everything from 150 downwards, and put a nice compression on it, and then I have yeah, you make the vocals very breathy. We don't have a vocal here, right, to show it. It's yeah, vocal is always a tricky thing, especially to place it in the mix then. So it's
Where do you typically put the vocal in? At what point? Do you build the track and then have the vocalist, or?
yeah. Actually, I do the instrumental. Most of the time, I just do the instrumental and arrange it in a way to think about this is the part for the verses and then the chorus or pre-chorus, depending on what type of genre you do. And then I work with my singer-songwriters, send them the track and give them like a timeline to say from this I want you to start singing the verses and stuff, and then you go from there and send ideas back and forth till you come to the final result. So first of all, I just do the instrumental, and then afterwards working on the full mix. Then.
Typically just do female vocals, or do you have male vocals in your songs as well?
I mean, I have a lot of male vocals actually. I mean, everybody knew my collaboration with Armin, Going Wrong, with Chris Jones. And then I work with Inge Hansen, and I just did a new track with a new guy from Los Angeles. His name is Jace. He has amazing voice as well. I can show you guys a bit. Like male vocal. I like male vocals. For some reason, the real trans people always complain about male vocals. They're like more like the girls singing. But for me, I think it's nice to have a male vocal, especially for radio. You have a better chance to get played for some reason when you have a male vocal. When I look back to my tracks with male vocals, I always had better airplay than with my typical trance tracks with the girls. Like this, for example, is one track I can show you a bit from the Sun Lounger album.
Here I am. And what else could you ask for?
I awake from a dream that sends me right back to when I first saw your face. I look around, nothing's as it seems, because you're long gone, nothing but a memory in my head.
That's a very cool guy. Yeah, for this vocal, for example, I cut it almost everything from 200 downwards and put him, as you can hear, a lot of highs from the 10,000s. And also what I'm always doing when you have like delays or like a reverb, I always like to use the Space Designer. Maybe I can open Logic Quick just to show you how I would do the reverb on a vocal. For example, like EQing for vocal. I can just do like a kind of a chain for vocal, even don't have the vocal. So what I start with is with EQing. Depending if you have like a male vocal or female, like the male I would cut at 150, like the female you can even go a bit up to 200. So like for Chase I did about like this, and I gave him a bit there, and I gave him maybe 4 or 5 there, and then what I like to do sometimes I put like effects like delay or reverb first, and then after this I put a compression, which is very cool to do actually. So if you guys have already if you recorded like vocals, what you should try out is using, I mean, you can do any delay you want to try. If it comes to reverb, I recommend you try the Space Designer and you go to the large spaces and use the huge. It's what I'm almost always doing, to use the Grand Church, and then put the lows down up to 10, and then you go down to almost 20. That means in the mix you can't really hear the reverb on the vocal, but you can feel it, and it spreads the vocal. Like when you listen to my vocals, the way they are flying on top of especially in the breakdowns, it's all about using the Space Designer. This is something you should really try out. It's pretty cool. And then I put some of the compression on it. Sometimes I just use the simple this or even that one. Put the limiter on it as well. And one other thing you should try out for vocals is use another Space Designer first. And use a blade effect, for example, bright vocals. And with this effect, you get this very breathy feel of the vocals. So this is like a setup for vocals you should try to start with. It makes the vocal really makes difference out of the vocal. So if I listen to one of my singers try and then do something like this, it changes like 300-400% already. And then you go from there and tweak it. But this is something you should really try out. Okay, so we've been. So now we have to.
Very much like to thank Pyramind for hosting me here once again. I think this institution is really cool, and until I came here for the first time, I'd never seen anything like it in my whole life.
What I think really separates us from other people who teach is that we are outrageously passionate about what we do, and especially in electronic music.
Since coming to Pyramind, I've discovered electronic music, and San Francisco being a mecca for underground electronic music opened up so many doors for me, and kind of blew my mind.
We cover everything from absinthe to contact. When people get to the mind-melting level, we get into modular synthesis.
Everything about native instruments, everything about Logic synths, down to the finest detail. We learned it all.
The fundamentals of understanding how things work, that's just essential. But then beyond that, there's so much more, and that's where it gets into just a lot of the artistic side of like the creative approach of why you do something, not just how.
There's a lot of schools that just, they focus on the technicality of recording music, but I wanted something that would foster creativity and really help me develop as an artist as well.
Each of our genre-specific programs comes in 4 levels. There's a basic, an advanced, a professional, and then a master's level. And the master's level is, of course, everything we do. It's the largest and most powerful programs that we can create for you.